best to turn Justin's hair white.
Really?
Barely
Yeah.
getting there yet.
Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I'm here today with Ashley, my friend from the Volkswagen Club. We got to shoot this video over again. You know, I mean, we did the first one. She sharpened her very first knife using the burr-based method. Did a fantastic job. She got done with the edge, and without me touching it through the entire time that she was sharpening it, because I didn't even touch it. I didn't feel for a burr. I didn't do nothing. I just, here, you do it all. And then when she got done with it, I took it, I kind of examined the edge, felt for a burr. There wasn't a burr there. I cut some paper with it and then took some hair off my arm. So she was super excited to be able to go from a non-knife sharpener to a knife sharpener in one visit to the shop. And she only actually sharpened for, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes. The rest of that hour-long video was me blabbing. So now we're doing, that was the burr-based method. Now we are doing the plateau-based method of sharpening a knife. We made it 20 minutes through the first video, and then I looked up and I realized that I had not tilted the camera down so that you guys could see what I was doing. So I just deleted the whole thing and we're going to start all over again. So anyway, so we got this knife here. A Charade Old Timer, two-bladed trapper. I was going to sharpen this side, and then she was going to sharpen this blade. She was going to sharpen this blade. We threw that out the window because this is, you know, this was sharpened on a buffer, and so it's got a very, very rounded edge, and I don't think that's going to be quite appropriate for her first plateau-based method of sharpening on camera. If she wanted to do that on her own time, you know, okay, great, but you know, I know you guys don't think it, but I do try to keep these videos short. It's just I'm really long-winded, and I'm trying to tell you an awful lot of stuff into one video. So anyway, so this knife, I did do quite a bit of shaping. If you can see the amount of light reflecting off of the edge, there is, we've got some light reflecting right here in the middle, and we're almost out of light reflecting on the tip and on the heel. Okay, the whole idea behind plateau sharpening is to not form a burr. So you take your knife, and now I'm going to be paranoid that you guys are pointed in the right direction. Okay, so this is what we want to get to. Okay, this nice triangular edge. Triangular edge there. Okay, this is what we've got, a rounded off factory edge. Okay, with the plateau based method, you pretty much have to have a completely dull edge, or an edge that's dull enough that you can see light when you look down on it. All right, now whether it got that dull through use, or you go ahead and they call de-stressing the edge by rubbing it on the stone so that you can see light reflecting, one way or another you got to get to a dull knife to be able to sharpen it like this, right? Now the idea behind plateau based sharpening is that when you can see that flat as reflecting light off the edge, you want to take this dash mark, the dash marks off right there. You want to take those off with your coarse stones, okay? But leave a little strip of light that you can see to be able to take that off on your fine stone and then actually finish your edge off. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to finish it off with this knife. I'm going to spend more time on the coarse side. We're going to go ahead and knock that off. Hopefully I got the majority of the work done in that last video, so that this video will be a little bit shorter, because I actually still got to do this. So what I was noticing on this knife is that I've got more light reflecting right here in the middle than what I do at the up near the ricasso or the point. So I'm going to focus quite a bit right up in here, getting that down, and then we'll even it out. Now to do that, I'm going to turn my stone sideways. These stones typically wear more in the middle than they do on the ends. So if you've got an area blade like this where you need to do some detail work, use the edges of your stones, okay? Because they're gonna, when you go to flatten this stone, you're gonna wear those away anyway, and then throw it in the garbage pretty much when you redress this stone. So you might as well get some use off of those ends. So I'm going to come in there and really work this kind of the belly of the blade. That'll be about enough. Yep, sure is. See how nice and flat that edge bevel looks? Okay, see how nice and flat that edge bevel is looking from, you got your blade bevels, so your blade finish. Where those marks end and the sharpening marks begin, that to the edge is your edge bevel. See how that is looking nice and flat? Goes all the way to the edge. And then how there's less light reflecting in the middle here. So now I'm going to smooth up this side of the blade on the whole stone, flip it to the other side, dress that part in right quick, even it up, get to where we're at a nice, just a glint of light off the end, or off the edge, and then we'll switch stones. If I haven't said it in this video yet, this is a Norton crystalline coarse fine, and we are working on the coarse side right now. Okay, so now we're going to come up in here and get this side. Yeah, plateau based sharpening, there's not, you know, to be a good, or to have good results using the plateau based sharpening method, you really have to have a couple of things that you don't need with the burr-based sharpening method. First, you have to be able to see really well, whether with glasses or with optics, like you know, a loupe or a magnifying glass or a nice microscope like what I've got over there. You have to have a really good source of light. Almost. You have to have a really good source of light. So with this base, with the plateau based method, it's really tough to sharpen in low light situations. So let's say you're out on an elk hunt and you tipped over a nice 6-point bull and you're in 2 foot of snow and the light's failing and you got to sharpen your knife up. Well, with the plateau based method, you can still sharpen like that, but you don't know when to quit because you can't really see the edge. I see how there's just a glint of light.
Even all the way to.
What's that?
Even.
It's even. Oh, she said it's even. So maybe I'm a better plateau based sharpener than I thought. There's just a glint of light and it's nice and even. And our edge bevels look fairly good. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the fine stone. This is Norton Fine India. And first of all, we're going to get rid of all of our coarse stone scratches. Because I left that little bit of light there reflecting to let us know when we're actually going to be sharp. There's not going to be hardly any of it by the time I get this scratch pattern gone. I hope.
I'm judging the elk hunter that didn't sharpen his knife before he went out.
Well,
That was not his best move.
You know, my kids say you shouldn't judge. I think that's
We all do it.
I kind of think that's silly. I mean...
Learn from their mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, I can see not judging, you know, due to age, sex, religion, you know,
Right.
Political beliefs, all that kind of stuff. But the whole you shouldn't judge, I mean, that's how mankind, like, survives. Okay. Hardly any light in there, right?
Yep. So I had to get the right angle.
Yep. Hardly any light in there at all. I mean, really, the whole you shouldn't judge thing. Okay, so a coyote, right? We live in Wyoming. Wyoming's got lots of coyotes. You know,
They're in front of the house a lot.
are they?
Mm-hmm.
The whole out west type deal. Okay, so a coyote, and then we have this thing. You know, guys go out and well, guys and gals go out and kill coyotes, typically for their fur or for livestock management, because coyotes will tear up, especially sheep, but also cattle. You know, the young of the year, the sick, all that kind of stuff. Coyotes will tear the heck out of them, you know, and so that digs into the rancher's pocketbooks. Well, a coyote, you know, he hears a dying rabbit call, right? You know, some guy's out there with his rifle and camo, and he's blowing on the call, making it sound like he's a cottontail in distress. Well, the coyote runs in, you know, to get a free meal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then he gets shot at. Well, if he gets hit, it's all over and done with. But if it misses, or if he wounds him or something, you know what? That coyote, from that point on, will always judge a cottontail sound.
Yeah.
He will think, okay, is that really a dying cottontail? Or is that some, you know, guy with a gun that's trying to kill me? That's what judging is. That's how... Anyway, I had that discussion with my daughter a long time ago when she told me that.
I'm going to save that one for my kids now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have got very, very little light reflecting off the edge, and we've got cleaned up edge bevels. Okay, so everything looks like it's in really good position for this knife to actually get sharpened, because all we've been doing so far, I'll just let you look at it, all we've been doing so far is just shaping and just getting everything set up to where it's ready to sharpen. Okay? All right. So now if I do the thumb pad test, which, you know, I'm just feeling the edge, see if it feels sharp or not, and it feels like it's kind of not bad. I mean, there's still that little flat. Don't want to stab myself in the face here. There's still that little bitty flat right there. We know that because we can see the light reflecting off of it, but it's very, very small and it's uniform. So now we go to the extremely boring spot. Okay, we're going to try to cut paper. It's more ripping paper than it's doing anything else. So now we do a stroke at a time. Because this right here is going to be our finishing stone. Okay, so with this method right here, so like the burr-based method, right? Let's say you actually want to go past a Norton Fine India. Okay, you want to do like a whole progression, you know, all the way up to, you know, a surgical black Arkansas, right? Which is like a, I don't know, 2000 grit finish, something like that. So what you would do is you would create the burr on the coarse stone, and then you would refine the burr on a fine stone, and then you might go to another stone where you move the burr back and forth, you know, always using the burr to let you know when you are done with each side. Until you get to your final stone. Then that's when you weaken the burr and remove it on your final stone. That's the grit that you want to finish your edge off at. Okay, this method right here, you probably want to bring it to a cutting edge on the fine stone, and then you just lighten up your pressure for the remaining stones after that. I don't see how you would not form a burr doing that, but that's kind of what everybody says that you don't do, so we're going to roll with that. Alright, so we go back and forth until we kind of feel like, okay, it might be sharp. And it does feel sharper. And it is starting to slice paper a little bit better. And there's a little spot in there, a little hiccup, where I probably got a little burr there, or it's a nick from hitting the back spring, one of the two. So anyway, so then you just sit here and you go back and forth. There is no burr removal, because if you do it right, you do not create a burr in the first place to be removed. And you just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until you get the level of sharpness that you want, and then you quit. Because if you go too much past that, then you will raise one of those dreaded burrs that everybody's so scared of. and then you have to start all over again.
And then wouldn't that be taking even more steel?
It would. Okay. So we're getting pretty close. So you guys get the idea, right? And this video is not about me sharpening, because you guys have seen me sharpen. Well, you've only seen me sharpen, what, twice now?
I kind of watched you teach Justin.
Oh, okay.
But not really.
Yes.
I was over there
Okay.
watching the forge.
So Ashley's seen me sharpen 3, maybe 4 knives, something like that. You guys have seen me sharpen a whole bunch more than that, and I have seen me sharpen, I never kept count because I never thought it would be something to brag about, but I would guess that I've probably, I don't even want to guess. I mean,
I can't imagine.
I think I'm somewhere around 10,000 knives that I've made.
Oh.
So, I sharpened all of those, plus, my personal pocket knives, plus the kitchen knives, because my wife won't sharpen knives. Drives me nuts, but, plus friends' knives, plus shop tools. I mean, I've spent a fair amount of time with a knife or a pair of scissors or a chisel or whatever in my hand, rubbing it on a rock. Which is why I say sharpening is so easy. But I've done an awful lot of it. But now Ashley, who has sharpened one knife, says it's easy also. And that's what I was after in this video, is to show you, hey, it is easy. All you're doing is taking a chunk of steel and rubbing it on a rock until 2 planes meet at a perfect edge. And it's really easy to do. This method's a little bit tougher, but all right, let's swap spots. Okay. So let's go ahead and use the same knife that Ashley sharpened using the burr base method, okay? Because we know that the edge is pretty much shaped, so she won't have to do a whole lot of shaping with it, okay? So it'll be nice and easy. You can focus more on, setting your edge up, cutting the amount of light in half, and then refining the edge and then getting it sharp, okay? So she just spent 20 minutes making this knife sharp, right?
Dude.
It
was so pretty.
But you notice she's shaking her head. She's not like really upset because she knows how to make it sharp again. I mean, I could do this and then she could make it sharp, and I could do this and she could make it sharp. We could do that until we worn the whole steel out, or until it was time to go get the kids from school. I mean, it's just the way it is. There's not enough light reflecting now. Okay. So we have got good light reflecting on the edge. Hope you can see that. I am handing it to Ashley, and I won't touch it until she's done with it, and then she can cut some paper, or I can cut some paper and try taking some hair off my arm. Whatever.
Shave your head.
No, we're not shaving my head. I am entirely. I mean, I'm not a
Not
great.
yet.
I'm not a great-looking guy, but I am entirely too vain to shave my head.
Me too.
You're too vain to shave my head?
Or mine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, check your amount of light.
Okay.
And you know that your edge bevels were already pretty well cleaned up because you did that before.
Yep.
But go ahead and cut in some new ones. Now, memorize the amount of light that you had, because you're going to want to cut that in, not in half, because if you cut it in half, then you'll be at an edge when you take that amount of light off the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to go a little bit less than half.
Okay.
Yep, so lay it flat on the stone, then raise it up to whatever angle. Yep. Okay, now I would go a little bit slower and work on raising the heel of your hand up.
Okay.
To be able to get the point. Now that was at a lower angle. So set it down. Lift it up to your sharpening angle. Now as you bring it back, once you get to about this part of the stone, then start raising your elbow or the heel of your hand so that you grind the tip. A little more. A little more than that. That's getting better. And like I said, this is Ashley's second knife. Usually I tell folks, I say, hey, if you're interested in plateau sharpening, sharpen 100 knives with a burr-based method. Once you get that down and your hands know how to hold the angle that you like, you know about how much, you start learning your stones, you know how much pressure is needed to cut, for the stones to cut the steel. Once you get all that and you got some experience, then start playing around with the plateau-based method. But we're making it tough on her. This is her second knife. How's it look?
I feel like I'm just under half.
Feel like you're just under half, but you can still see a nice light, nice line of light.
Yep.
Okay, well then add some oil and then go the other way.
Flat.
Yep.
Not feel right.
Is there a bad spot in the stone? Nope. Nope. Might be you're putting too much pressure on.
Probably.
Yeah, so just lighten it up a little bit. There you go. And then remember to raise the heel of your hand or your elbow. There you go, to where you start getting that point. And when you start practicing, the magic marker is going to be your friend there, because it will let you know where you're grinding.
There's a little bit of light left.
There's a little bit left.
Yep.
How much is, I mean, can you just barely see it? I think we can go a little bit more. So I would do like, I don't know, 10 strokes on each side.
Okay.
Nice and smooth and controlled. You know, kids having cell phones is great sometimes.
Till they get in trouble and take it away, and then you're just the one punished.
Yeah.
Because then you can't
Then
get a
you
hold
can't
of
tell
them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
We're in the middle of that right now.
Are you?
Yeah. Good
Is
times.
she in trouble? She
That whole
is?
math thing.
Oh, gotcha. So did you go 10 on each side?
Almost.
Almost? Using mineral oil for oil stones is actually really good for your knife handles. You know, when they start getting dry and they start looking kind of dried out, you know, if they're a wood handle, mineral oil is what I tell everybody to treat their handles with. Like you said, you have old hickory kitchen knives. Mineral oil is all you need to, you know, to keep that wood in good shape.
Wasn't an issue till we moved out here.
Yeah, it is really dry here. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that we've got really a nice line of light, but we've still got a little bit too much of it.
Okay.
So and I noticed that your edge angles are kind of starting to get lower and lower and lower, which is good. You know, I mean, I really like, for kitchen knives, the lower angles the better. Okay, which we never did go over that. Okay. Edge angles. Everybody gets worked up over them, like they get worked up over numbers. Okay, it really doesn't matter all that much. I mean, as a beginner sharpener, it really doesn't matter all that much. Once you start getting into, you know, nicer steels and, you know, you want to start pushing your performance quite a bit, the lower edge angle is always going to cut better. Knives like this that are made out of 420 stainless with a questionable heat treat because, well, they're factory knives that are made
Yeah.
by the gazillion, right? They won't hold a really, really low edge angle. The steel isn't strong enough to be able to hold such a low angle. All right, so these you have to stay, I don't know, everybody wants a number, so 15 to 25 degrees, somewhere around there. But it really doesn't matter if this side is 15 and this side's 20. It just doesn't matter at all. But you will want a little bit higher on, so like do another couple of strokes. That right there looks good. Yeah. Your last couple were lower than that. And this is kind of an odd place. I think I want you to put your other hand here.
I'm trusting you.
What's that?
I'm trusting you right now.
Well, there you're not going to cut yourself. There, it was starting to get close to your forearm. All right, let's look at it, because that's about 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this. See, I was trying not to touch the knife while you were working on it.
It's different if you're only looking at the light.
Okay. Yeah, we're starting to get there. And then 10 strokes on this side?
Okay.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to be accused of cheating on knife sharpening. I mean, that's like a cardinal sin. I mean, now see there, you're starting to get kind of low, so you want to raise that up. There you go. They do have with these, this little Smith's Tri-Home came with this doohickey.
Sorry. I love that word.
Doohickey?
Yeah. Thingamajig.
That's kind of what it is, thingamajig. So you take this and you hold it like that, and that's supposed to be your angle. But look how
That's really steep.
that's a steep angle. I mean, I wouldn't put this steep of an edge angle on a chopper. You know, like yeah, you keep sharpening. I'll grab a chopper here. You know, a chopper like this. You know, 10-inch blade. I don't know. This one is extremely heavy. It'd take pretty much whatever you throw its way. Honestly, I use this to take heads off of like deer and antelope before I skin them. So it's cut through an awful lot of bone. Now, granted, it's fresh bone, so that's not too rough on an edge. But even that blade right there is not sharpened at that steep of an edge angle. I mean, that's just kind of ridiculous. So, but if you were to take something like that and then cut it in half, that would be about right. Yeah, so if you were to take that,
Just grind that edge down on that.
cut
on the
that
yellow
about
thingy.
there, that'd be about right, I think. Yeah, and wider knives is easier to adjust to see your angle than narrower knives, because there's more width there to see it. All right. Oh, that's looking good. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing a nice small amount of light reflecting from here to about here. From here up, though, there's not a whole lot left.
Not much.
I mean, I'm not feeling the burr picking up, but there's almost a complete edge there. So we go to the fine stone, and then go ahead and do 10 strokes on each side. I would put a little bit more pressure. So
Toward the handle?
yeah, towards the handle. So if you're like this, I would put a little bit more, either more pressure here or leave this on the stone for longer before you start doing your curve.
Okay.
That'll put more abrasion right there in that spot that's got some more light on it.
Okay.
There you go. Now you see how the oil is riding up over the blade?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not sure if I said that in this video or if that was in the old video, but notice how the oil, well, you probably won't be able to see it from this angle, but when she goes back this way, as that knife is coming across the stone, it's actually cutting the oil off the surface. Okay, that is a really good indication that you're at the proper angle and that that edge bevel is going all the way to the edge. Okay, if it wasn't going all the way to the edge, now watch, go a little bit slower so they can see it. Okay, so we need some more oil.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, so here on this side, you got oil climbing from here up, but that part right there isn't. So, yeah, just, I would angle, keep it about like that, and then just go straight down with no curve. Now, see, now
Now it went that
yeah,
way.
you went up over
Yep.
the cost. That's all right. There you go. You guys got to remember, this is her second time ever sharpening a knife. I was telling her earlier when she got here, I said, you know, I've been looking for somebody to do this video with for a long time because, you know, you see all the knife sharpening for beginners videos, right? And I've done a couple of them, you know, where I say, hey, this is how you sharpen. And I've taught a whole bunch of people how to sharpen knives, but I cannot make my hands do stuff like that to be able to show you. I just can't. I don't think that my hand would do that even if I told it to do it, because it would know that it was not such a good thing. And it'd be afraid I'd be mad at it.
We need to switch. You can come climbing. It's really hard to do some stuff wrong now.
Yeah, you'll probably. So Ashley is a rock climber. I climbed rocks when I was a kid because I was a rambunctious and very wild kid, I think. I climbed rocks, trees, you know, got in trouble, got into fights. I mean, all the kind of stuff that I tell my kids now not to do, yeah, that's what I did. But nowadays, I don't really climb rocks unless I need to. You know, like if I'm out elk hunting and
You need to see from the top.
I need to see from the top.
Yeah.
I did get into tree climbing a while back to be able to bring some trees down that I needed to. And I asked Ashley's help for some of, you know, teaching me some knots and stuff like that, which she did, and absolutely amazing. I mean, the knots that go, you know, that you use in tree work that are also in climbing work. But she keeps after me to go climbing rocks, and I keep saying, well, I see the purpose in climbing a tree so that you can take the tree down or get rid of a limb that, you know, is overhanging a house or something like that. And I don't know about the whole climbing rocks. I told her as soon as I found a chainsaw that would cut rocks and she needed some rocks taken down, I'd go rock climbing with her.
One of these days.
One of these days. Okay.
So it's looking like we're getting close.
Yeah, and that last stroke was at a pretty high angle. It does look like we're getting close. Okay, now try cutting the paper. I would start at the heel. Here, let me grab a piece of paper, and you can grab a piece of paper, and then I'll show you how to cut paper too. You didn't know you were going to learn how to cut paper today.
Kindergarten.
You're what?
Like kindergarten.
Okay. Well, we're both right-handed, so that's good.
Yep.
All right, so where you're holding the paper at, put the knife blade right up against there. Okay, now kind of in the back, more towards your hand. There you go. Okay. Now at an angle. So if you just, I mean, that's called push cutting, which, you know, everybody raves about, hey, you know, I can get this knife that will push cut paper. Well, what they're talking about is just push cutting, you know, not a draw. All right. Which, you know, I guess that's cool. I usually cut almost everything on a draw.
Like that?
Like that. It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's absolutely, you know, it's an absolutely serviceable edge.
That's kind of fun.
cutting the paper? All right, let's see if it'll take care of my arm or if it needs a little bit more work. We've got to go on my right arm because
You run out?
my left arm's just about hairless, which is a knife maker's or a knife sharpener's curse. You know, the curse of the bare forearms. We're scrape shaving some hair. We're not really
Not quite there yet.
Yeah, we're not really shaving hair yet. We're just scraping. I mean, there's some coming off, you know, but not quite there. So, more oil, light pressure.
1-1.
Yep. Okay. Very light pressure, very smooth and controlled strokes. And we'll just do, I don't know, 5 on each side. You know, 1 at a time, of course. And then we'll check it again.
That was not pretty.
That was... You know, I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, no, it wasn't, but it doesn't really matter that you did it. Those are starting to look good. I swear you're a natural, just like everybody else I've ever learned how to. You know, I have not ever had somebody come visit me in my shop that said, hey, I want to learn how to sharpen a knife. And I showed them how to sharpen a knife. I've never not been able to teach somebody how to sharpen a knife. Ever. Some folks took a little bit longer than others. Some folks I had to show more than once. But everybody left being able to sharpen their own knife, which is why I keep saying that, hey, if somebody tells you that knife sharpening is hard, that probably means that they don't know that much about knife sharpening, which there isn't a whole lot to learn. Now we're getting there. See that grin on her face? She's like, yep, he's going to make his arm bald. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but, you know, hey, that is an entirely serviceable edge. Will it do the whole push cutting thing? It'll even push cut some. It's a little on the rough side, but that's all right. So now, Miss Ashley knows how to sharpen a knife with 2 different methods. What do you think?
About what?
About being able to sharpen a knife now.
I'm going to go home and sharpen everything.
You want to go home and sharpen everything? I've heard that quite a few times too. People are so scared of dulling knives when they don't have to be. I mean, all you're doing is taking a chunk of steel, rubbing it on a rock, and it gets sharp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So from now on, somebody tells you sharpening is tough, what are you going to tell them?
They're wrong.
No, you're going to tell them, come over to the house and I'll show you how to sharpen. Or where's your knife, your sharpening stone, and let's sharpen that thing up. Because, yeah, sometimes I wonder if it's almost getting lost. You know, I mean, all the mechanical sharpeners and the pull-through sharpeners and the...
As seen on TV.
Yeah, those. And the $300 sharpeners, you know, that, you know, you just put the knife in there and it's got 2 motors and it runs grinding wheels in there and everything. I mean, my gosh, why do you need all that when, you know, this... So the stone that... well, actually, I think you've got a stone at home, right? Okay, so when you get home, send me a picture of that stone. You know, and that way we'll be able to tell what it is. But what I would suggest the most would be this right... Okay, so Norton makes 2 of these combination stones. They make the crystalline coarse and the crystalline fine, or they make the crystalline coarse and the fine India. Okay, so this, I mean, it'll be a combination stone, but, and you'll still have this coarse side, but the other stone that's like this has this color instead of this. That is the stone that I would suggest to just dang near anybody who's just getting started. $19.97, I think, on Amazon. With Prime, it'll be to your house in 2 days. And some mineral oil. We didn't go over that in this video. The other video, we went over, you know, different types of oil stones, diamond stones, water stones, all that kind of stuff. But we didn't go over on this is one of the biggest reasons I like mineral oil. Okay, grab some mineral oil with that stone. It's about all you really need. Mineral oil, this is wooden bamboo oil, which if you look at the back of it, it says ingredients.
Oh.
Yeah. wooden bamboo oil, but the ingredients is mineral oil. So why don't they just call it mineral oil? It must be a marketing thing, right? Baby oil. A lot of people like using baby oil. It's a light mineral oil. I can't stand the smell of it. You know, brings back bad memories of changing diapers and stuff, and I'm just not into that stuff anymore. But mineral oil, it's most of it is food safe. I don't know if the baby oil is or not, but I know you can get food safe mineral oil in the pharmacy section of like Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and anything in the cooking section will be food safe also. Mineral oil works really good to keep your stones clean while you're using them. So remember, I mean, all this gray stuff that's on that paper towel, that's all steel that you took off the edge of the knife, and you know, stone particles that got, you know, worn away from the rock. But mineral oil is extremely easy to clean up. So, all right, Ashley, you grab those two stones. Let's see, let's move the heater out of the way. You grab those two stones. I will grab the camera. Clean up once you're done is as easy as Dawn, hot water, and the sink. You got to wash your hands anyway to get rid of the mineral oil, so you pretty much just rub the stones down with a little bit of Dawn and set them on the corner of your counter. Let them dry. Most of these stones are pre-filled with oil. It's kind of a thick oil, and that way the mineral oil just doesn't just run through it. So they're pre-filled with an oil that you're really not going to get out with Dawn. If you use like a heavy-duty degreaser, you might be able to get that oil out, but it's really thick. It'll stay in there most of the time. So you rinse the stone or wash the stone off with Dawn while you're washing your hands. There's a cold side. Yeah. I was about to say you're about to burn your hands.
That's where that psoriasis comes in.
Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Rinse them off, let them dry, and then, you know, wrap them in a rag, or you know, if you got a fancy wooden box or something. Okay, we're not gonna make you wash.
You don't like my hand washing?
Well, I just didn't figure anybody'd want to sit there and watch you wash your hands. So when you're done, grab an old t-shirt or something, you know, wrap it up in that old t-shirt and stick it up underneath the sink in the kitchen, or wherever it is that you want to store them. About the only thing that you're going to do that can really break an oilstone is dropping it. Yeah, you can move that back. No, dropping oilstones isn't all that good on them. Using them without oil is not very good for them.
Imagine that sounds awful.
What's that?
The sound of the knife on it without oil. That'd be annoying. Yeah,
so without that oil to lift them steel particles out, it just plugs them up, and they'll get glazed. You know, I think I have one. Where did I put that one? I had one around here somewhere that is glazed up that I was going to resurface. I stuck it in there. No, I didn't stick it in there. Oh well. So what'll happen is they'll get the stones will get smoother and smoother as you use them. This one's still pretty much the same color that this backside is. Okay, but when you start seeing the surface of the stone will get really shiny, and it'll have like dark streaks in it. Okay, and that's particles of steel that are embedded in the surface of the stone. All right, so once you get to that point, if you, on like these Norton Fine Indias, if you take an old junk knife and really sharpen it hard, it'll actually break down the bond in between the grit, and you'll carve a layer of the stone off. And then that will expose fresh abrasive underneath, and then it'll go back to cutting the way it's supposed to.
Okay. When
you do that, though, you'll end up wearing that part of your stone out. So, and then you'll need to re-flatten it. Now, I've got silicon carbide and plate glass that I can pretty much recut a whole stone with, and that works really nice. Most people, honestly, if you buy that one stone, or if you've got what you've got at home is close to that, If it gets really badly glazed or if it gets really dished out, honestly, they're $20.
Right.
You know, and if you're going to go through one every 10 years, just pony up and pick up a new one. And of course, you guys aren't seeing all that. Yeah, so this surface will get all glazed up, which this one looks nice and clean, so I guess. But yeah, for $20 for a 10-year sharpening tool, you know, I mean, man, you know, you blow $20 on 2 people at McDonald's anymore.
Easy.
You know, so $20 for a sharpening stone that keeps your kitchen utensils, your pocket knife, your scissors, all that kind of stuff sharp. So you've got to learn how to sharpen scissors now too, because you're a very crafty girl. I bet you've got fabric scissors.
Oh yeah, the ones nobody's allowed to touch.
That they have touched.
Probably.
And scissors that are, I mean, yeah, you don't mess with the fabric scissors. It's the same way at my house. Those fabric scissors, and you never find them.
Oh, mine are in right by my chair.
Don't say.
Oh, they're in like they've got a seat, like a special spot.
Yeah, okay.
And they're right in the living room by my work chair.
Yeah, you get
no one touches them.
Exactly, because they know.
They're not supposed to.
Yeah. But, you know, like I said, this works great for kitchen knives, pocket knives, scissors, shears, you know, the little shears that you keep in your kitchen knife block for cutting like rose stems off and stuff, you know, and Justin gives you flowers. Yep, those you can sharpen them up the same way. Serrated knives are a little bit tougher. Honestly, I don't really care for serrated knives, so I don't really make a whole lot of them, but like bread knives or like dedicated rope cutting knives, which since you're a climber, honestly, just use a coarser finish like that DMT or even just the coarse side. Don't even finish your climbing knife on the fine side, because that coarse side, it makes it like a serrated knife. And those things, you put a good coarse edge on a rope knife, and that thing will outcut any serrated knife you've ever seen. I mean, it will be scary how fast that thing will cut rope, whether it's got a load on it or not. I mean, it's just insane. But for serrated knives, you know, I don't even have a serrated knife in here to show you guys, because I just don't play around with those very much. Yeah, that's like a really fine. No, it's not. For those, you can use the corner of your stone to kind of work inside those serrations, or you can take an old file and knock the corner of that stone off, and then kind of dress it to where it's about the same contour as the serrations, and then you can use that. You guys can't see what I'm talking about. So take a file and then just knock off the corner, one of the corners of your stone, because you got 4 of them, and round it off until it matches the size of the serrations in your bread knife or your pocket knife or whatever that you have is serrated, and then you can use that to get in there and sharpen those serrations. You know, I mean, if you're a serrated edge type person, which I'm not, so I don't think I've ever. No, I've sharpened some, and then that was when I really decided I didn't like them. Yeah. All right, guys, so I think that's about it. So this video is 50 minutes. It's a long one too, but again, Ashley's second knife ever sharpening. First one was with the burr base method on the first video. This one's with the plateau base method. Which one do you think's easier?
I don't want them.
You don't want to, she doesn't want to say.
Nope.
Yeah. But you can get a knife sharp using both methods, right? And you can mix them up. You can totally mix them up. So let's say that you're a plateau sharpener person, or you like the plateau base method the most, right? Or you can just forget all that nonsense and use both of them whenever you need to. You can even use both of them in the same knife. Okay, so let's say you've got a knife like this charade right here, right? I mean, we were working for a long time to get rid of that rounded edge off this. What you could do is, even though you like the idea of plateau-based sharpening, and you feel like you get better edges that way, there's no reason you can't use a burr-based method for shaping.
Right.
Because the burr-based method is really fast for shaping, because there's no question when you're done. So you could just go ahead and take that and then just run it until you get a light burr on one side. And you don't have to have a heavy burr either. I mean, you can start off with a light burr even on the coarse side. About the only time you really make heavy burrs, because I think the heaviest burr we made was on this. No, it was on whichever one I sharpened.
This one?
Yeah, and it really wasn't all that heavy. I mean, I've seen burrs and actually made burrs that were, I mean, 3 times the size of that one. I mean, they can get huge, especially on soft stainless steel.
Mm.
Yeah. But you can use a burr-based method to get your edge shaped, then knock your edge off to create that ridge of light, and then use the plateau method from then on. There's some knives and some stones. I was playing around with this Smith's. They make a combination stone that you can get at Walmart for $8. And it's actually not a bad stone, but the fine side isn't fine enough to shear off a burr with a micro bevel. It's too coarse. I still have to play with it. I think I might be able to lap it with a finer grit sandpaper and be able to do that. But since it is so coarse, pretty much what you have to do with that is create a burr, and then once you kind of get everything about right, then you knock that burr off very lightly, and then you do a plateau to bring up to it. And then you can get a good shaving edge off of, you know, a not ideal type stone like that. Or if you're sharpening on a concrete block and finishing on, no, you can do it. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to sharpen on that brick right there, you know, it might not give you the best edge ever, but you could definitely get a dull knife serviceably sharp off that brick. Concrete steps, dirty 2x4s, cardboard. You know, if it'll scratch the steel, it'll sharpen it. Yeah. And these skills translate to everything. Okay, that's enough babbling. I'm sure I missed a couple of things, but we're going to call it good. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, give Ashley a round of applause in your living room for her second knife ever being sharpened with the plateau method. Give her another round of applause for her first one with the burr-based method. And you know what? If you got anybody that can't sharpen, I am hoping this video is going to be, I mean, you cannot fake this right here. I mean, you saw her hands. She obviously had never sharpened a knife before today, because you can't, once you know how to sharpen a knife, you can't fake not knowing how to sharpen a knife. It's just not realistic. So this is step by step exactly how I would teach, because this is how I did teach her. The last 20 people that came into the shop, this is exactly how I taught them, and every single one of them left here with a sharp knife. Did you have fun? You did? All right. You up for sharpening a razor on another day?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We're going to take her a step farther, and one of these days she's going to come over and she's going to sharpen a straight razor from scratch. I will take an old beat-up razor and I will rake the edge right across a brick or a sharpening stone, make a horrible sound, and then she will take that from there, establish a bevel, take it all the way up to a 6K or 6,000 grit or a 12,000 grit finish with a strop, and then, I don't know, does your husband shave with a straight razor?
No, but we can make it.
There we go. All right. This is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please, if you are not a freehand sharpener, get going. It's this easy. We'll see you next time.